Captain Dante Rodriguez stood at the viewport of the EDS Hyperion, watching the stars drift by as Earth's most advanced warship maintained its silent vigil at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. 20 years of preparation had led to this moment, and humanity's greatest secret was about to be revealed. "Contact," Lieutenant Kira Patel announced from her station, her voice steady despite the tension. "Three vessels just dropped out of FTL at the edge of our sensor range. Configurations match Zyraxian scout ships." Rodriguez smiled slightly. The aliens thought they were being subtle, probably expecting to find a primitive civilization barely capable of reaching its own moon. They had no idea they'd just triggered quantum detection arrays that humanity had spread across half the solar system. "The status of the stealth systems," he asked. "Operating at full capacity, sir," reported Chief Engineer Jun Wang from his station below the command deck. "They won't see us unless we want them to." The Hyperion represented the pinnacle of human engineering, a warship that could bend light around its hull, manipulate gravity itself, and deliver enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. But to the approaching Zyraxian vessels, the space around Earth's outer solar system appeared empty. "They're launching probe drones," Kira announced, heading toward the inner system. Rodriguez nodded, just as intelligence predicted. "Initiate Operation First Light. Signal the Artemis and the Helios to maintain position. Let's see how our visitors react to a proper welcome." Throughout the solar system, hidden defense platforms began powering up. Quantum computers processed vast amounts of data, tracking every movement of the alien vessels. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, ever since they'd recovered a damaged Zyraxian probe and learned of the vast empire that dominated the galaxy. The alien vessels proceeded deeper into the system, their sensors probing ahead of them. They were sleek, predatory-looking ships with sharp angles and weapon ports clearly visible along their hulls. The Zyraxians had never bothered to hide their military might, they'd never needed to. "Sir," Kira called out, "they've detected our orbital infrastructure around Mars. Reading increased power signatures from their weapon systems." "Right on schedule," Rodriguez muttered. "Signal command that Phase 1 is in progress. Prepare to execute intercept pattern Delta." On the main display, the alien ships accelerated toward Mars, no doubt expecting to find a primitive human colony ripe for conquest. Instead, they were about to spring humanity's trap. "They're in position," announced Tactical Officer Marcus Chen. "Waiting for your order, sir." Rodriguez took a deep breath. This moment would change human history forever. Execute. Instantly, dozens of hidden defense platforms around Mars revealed themselves, their quantum shields shimming into visibility as they powered up. The Zyraxian ships froze in space, caught completely off guard by the sudden appearance of military technology that shouldn't exist. "They're attempting to raise shields," Kira reported, a note of satisfaction in her voice. "But our quantum disruptors are already locked on." "Open a channel," Rodriguez ordered. "Let's introduce ourselves properly." The main screen flickered to life, showing the interior of the lead Zyraxian vessel. The alien commander was an impressive sight, nearly 8 feet tall with iridescent scales and 4 arms. Its compound eyes widened visibly at the sight of the human bridge crew. "This is Captain Dante Rodriguez of the Earth defense ship Hyperion," Rodriguez announced calmly. "You have entered restricted space. Power down your weapons or we will be forced to respond." The Zyraxian commander's translator processed the words, and its response came through clearly. "Impossible. Your species was assessed as pre-spaceflight less than 50 years ago. You cannot possess this level of technology." "And yet here we are," Rodriguez replied with a slight smile. "I suggest you look at your tactical displays very carefully." The Hyperion dropped its stealth field, appearing less than a kilometer from the Zyraxian vessels. Its massive hull seemed to drink in the starlight, covered in armor that could repair itself and weapons that could tear through space-time. The alien commander's skin changed color, a sign of shock or fear according to the xenobiologist's reports. "These energy readings, they cannot be correct. Your ship's power output exceeds anything in our database." "That's correct," Rodriguez confirmed. "Now, shall we discuss the terms of your peaceful departure from our solar system, or would you prefer a demonstration of exactly what humanity is capable of?" The tension on the bridge was palpable as they waited for the Zyraxian response. This was the moment that would determine whether first contact would end in peace or war. Either way, humanity was ready. The alien commander's scales rippled with color changes as it processed the situation. It was facing technology that should have been impossible for such a young species to develop, and weapons that its sensors couldn't even fully analyze. "We will withdraw," the Zyraxian finally announced, its voice carrying a mix of fear and respect. "But the Empire will need to be informed of this development." "We're counting on it," Rodriguez replied. "Safe journey." He made a cutting motion and the channel closed. The bridge crew remained tense as they watched the Zyraxian vessels turn and accelerate away from the solar system. Once they'd jumped to FTL, a collective breath was released. "Send word to command," Rodriguez ordered. "Phase 1 complete, the board is set." He turned to look at his crew, seeing the same determination reflected in their eyes. "Now we wait for their next move." Sir Kira spoke up. "Do you think they'll return peacefully, or—" "They'll be back with a fleet," Rodriguez stated firmly. "The Zyraxians have ruled through technological superiority for 10,000 years. They won't accept that a primitive species has surpassed them." He smiled grimly. "But that's exactly what we've been preparing for." As the Hyperion maintained its vigil, humanity's vast network of defenses continued to grow stronger. The real test would come soon, and Earth would be ready. The age of human isolation was over. Now it was time to show the galaxy exactly what humanity could do. The massive holographic display in Earth's Orbital Defense Command showed hundreds of Zyraxian warships emerging from FTL at the edge of the solar system. Director Ryuko Tanaka watched the incoming fleet with calculated calm, her decades of military experience evident in her steady gaze. "They certainly didn't waste any time," observed General Marcus Blackwood, his dark skin contrasting with the stark white of his uniform. "3 weeks since first contact, and they've brought enough firepower to subjugate a dozen worlds." "Exactly as we predicted," Ryuko replied, her fingers dancing over the control panel. "Captain Rodriguez, status of the outer defense grid." The captain's hologram appeared beside them. "All systems nominal, Director. The Hyperion and our sister ships are in position. The Zyraxians still haven't detected our quantum surveillance network." The alien fleet was impressive, dreadnoughts, carriers, and destroyers arranged in perfect attack formation. Their ships gleamed with polished armor and prominent weapon arrays, a display of power meant to intimidate. But humanity had long since moved past such obvious shows of force. "New transmission from the Zyraxian flagship," announced Communications Chief Olivia Nash. "They're demanding our immediate surrender and technological submission to Imperial authority." Ryuko allowed herself a small smile. "Put them through to my private channel. Time to explain some facts of life to our visitors." The alien commander appeared on her screen, Grand Admiral Kexler, according to intelligence. His scales were a deep purple, denoting his high rank in the Imperial hierarchy. "Director Tanaka," he began, "your species' unauthorized technological advancement cannot be permitted. Submit to Imperial authority now, and your world will be spared unnecessary destruction." "Grand Admiral," Ryuko replied pleasantly, "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. We're not some primitive civilization in need of Imperial guidance. We're offering you one chance to withdraw your fleet and open diplomatic relations as equals." Kexler's scales flickered with amusement. "You mistake our patience for weakness. Our sensors show your defensive capabilities. While impressive for such a young species, they cannot hope to match the combined might of an Imperial battle fleet." "Your sensors show what we want them to show," Ryuko corrected. "Perhaps a demonstration is in order." She nodded to General Blackwood, who transmitted a coded signal. Across the solar system, humanity's true defensive network awakened. Quantum phase generators that had remained dormant for years powered up, creating overlapping fields of distorted spacetime. Thousands of automated defense platforms emerged from their hiding places in asteroid fields and planetary rings. On the Zyraxian command ship, alarms began blaring. "Impossible," Kexler breathed, his scales paling. "These energy readings, they cannot be real." "Oh, they're very real," Ryuko assured him. "You're detecting barely 10% of our actual capabilities. Would you like to see more?" The Hyperion and its sister ships dropped their stealth fields, revealing vessels that seemed to bend reality around them. Their quantum drives pulsed with enough energy to rival small stars, and their weapon systems operated on principles the Zyraxians had never even theorized. "Your empire has ruled through technological superiority," Ryuko continued. "But humanity chose a different path, We saw your probe 20 years ago and understood what was coming. We unified, we innovated, and we surpassed you. Kexther's compound eyes narrowed. You claim to surpass 10,000 years of imperial technology in mere decades. Even if these readings are accurate, you cannot hope to match our numbers. Numbers? Ryuko raised an eyebrow. Computer, initiate full spectrum reveal authorization Tanaka Alpha 7. The space around Earth seemingly came alive. Orbital platforms that had been completely invisible to Imperial sensors revealed themselves. Massive defense installations emerged from quantum shadows, and automated drone swarms numbered in the millions activated their combat protocols. By the first Emperor, one of Kexther's officers whispered, their entire system is a fortress. Not just a fortress, Ryuko corrected. A demonstration. Humanity will not be conquered, subjugated, or guided by your empire. We're offering you a choice: adapt to a galaxy where you're not the only advanced civilization, or... She let the threat hang in the air as the Hyperion's weapons locked onto the Imperial flagship. The quantum targeting systems could pierce any known shield technology, and the Zyraxians knew it. Kexther's scales shifted through several colors before settling on a deep blue, a sign of grave consideration. You understand this changes everything. The Empire cannot ignore such power in the hands of newcomers. We're counting on it, Ryuko replied. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community, but as equals, not subjects. Your empire needs to evolve, Admiral. The age of unchallenged Imperial dominance is over. The tension in the command center was palpable as they waited for the Zyraxian response. Humanity had revealed its hand. Now they would see if the Empire could adapt or if war was inevitable. I must consult with the Imperial Council, Kexther finally announced. This situation is unprecedented. You have 24 hours, Ryuko stated firmly. After that, we will consider any unauthorized military presence in our system an act of war. Choose wisely, Admiral. As the transmission ended, General Blackwood turned to Ryuko. You think they'll back down? No, she replied, watching the Imperial fleet's energy signatures. They'll retreat for now, but they'll be back. The Empire's entire power structure is built on technological superiority. We've just shattered that illusion. Then war is coming. Ryuko's expression hardened. War was always coming, General, but now we'll fight it on our terms, not theirs. Humanity didn't prepare for submission, we prepared for victory. Throughout the solar system, humanity's defense forces remained on high alert. The quantum networks hummed with energy, monitoring every movement of the Imperial fleet. Earth had revealed its strength, and there was no turning back. The next few hours would determine whether humanity's first major interaction with galactic civilization would end in peaceful cooperation or interstellar war. Either way, the human race was ready. They had spent 20 years preparing for this moment, and they would not be found wanting. The Imperial response came not in 24 hours but in 12. It arrived not as words but as fire. The quantum detection grid registered the attack microseconds before it happened, hundreds of Imperial warships dropping out of FTL simultaneously at strategic points throughout the solar system. They had returned not just with their original fleet, but with reinforcements from 3 sector armies. In Earth's orbital command, the alert klaxons hadn't even begun to sound before Director Tanaka was issuing orders. Execute Protocol Omega, all defense grids to maximum power, deploy the Ghost Fleet. The Zyraxians had studied humanity's revealed defenses and planned accordingly. What they didn't know was that everything they'd seen had been just the surface of Earth's true capabilities. Multiple impacts detected on Mars' defensive grid, reported Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel from his station. They've brought planet-killer weapons. As expected, Ryuko replied calmly, initiate quantum fold defense. The massive energy beams from the Imperial dreadnoughts struck Mars' orbital platforms and simply disappeared. The quantum fold technology, humanity's greatest scientific achievement, didn't just deflect or absorb energy, it redirected it through dimensional space. Aboard the Hyperion, Captain Rodriguez watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Deploy Phantom Squadron, show them what fourth-dimensional warfare looks like. A new class of human ships emerged from quantum shadows, vessels that could partially exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. To Imperial sensors, they appeared to flicker in and out of reality, making them nearly impossible to target. The Zyraxian fleet's perfect formation began to break as human ships attacked from seemingly impossible angles. Weapons fire passed harmlessly through vessels that shifted between dimensions, while humanity's quantum-tipped missiles ignored shields entirely. Sir, called out Lieutenant Kira Patel, the enemy flagship is launching some kind of new weapon. Energy signature is off the charts. The Imperial flagship, a massive vessel nearly 20 kilometers long, had deployed what appeared to be a solar lance, a weapon designed to channel the power of a star into a focused beam. It was the kind of weapon that could crack planets. Now we'll see if the theoretical physics team earned their pay, Rodriguez muttered. Activate the quantum mirror defense. As the solar lance fired, space itself seemed to bend around the human fleet. The massive energy beam struck what appeared to be empty space and reflected back at the Imperial fleet, amplified by quantum mechanics that the Zyraxians didn't understand. The result was catastrophic for the Imperial forces. Their own weapon, turned against them, tore through their formation like a scythe through wheat. Dozens of ships vanished in atomic fire before they could even begin evasive maneuvers. In the chaos that followed, humanity's true military doctrine became clear. They hadn't just built better ships or stronger weapons, they'd fundamentally changed the rules of space combat. Quantum-shifted torpedoes passed through Imperial shields as if they didn't exist. Dimensional phase cannons struck ships from multiple angles simultaneously. Artificial gravity wells pulled enemy vessels into carefully planned killing zones. Multiple Imperial ships attempting emergency FTL jumps, reported Marcus Chen from Tactical. Their formation is breaking. But the Empire hadn't ruled for 10,000 years by giving up easily. From the surviving Imperial ships came a new threat, thousands of autonomous combat drones, each armed with antimatter warheads. Deploy the AI defense net, Rodriguez ordered. Let's see how their drones handle our virtual warfare specialists. Earth's quantum computers came online, their artificial intelligence systems engaging the Imperial drones in electronic combat. The machines fought at speeds no organic being could match, their virtual battles playing out in microseconds. But even as humanity's superior technology began to tell, the sheer numbers of the Imperial force remained overwhelming. For every ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. They're applying pressure to multiple points in the defense grid, General Blackwood reported from Orbital Command, trying to find a weak spot. Director Tanaka's expression remained unchanged. Deploy the Lazarus Protocol. Throughout the solar system, damaged human defense platforms began to repair themselves, their quantum-engineered materials reconstructing at the molecular level. Imperial commanders watched in horror as weapons they'd confirmed destroyed simply reformed and rejoined the battle. "Ma'am," Olivia Nash called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial flagship. Grand Admiral Kexther is requesting a ceasefire." "Put him through," Ryuko ordered. "Let's hear what he has to say." The alien commander's image appeared, his scales now a mottled gray, a sign of severe stress. "Director Tanaka, you have made your point. The Empire acknowledges humanity's strength." "Not just our strength, Admiral," Ryuko corrected. "Our right to exist as equals. The galaxy is changing, the Empire can change with it or..." She gestured to a nearby display showing the devastation humanity's quantum weapons had inflicted on the Imperial fleet. The message was clear. "The Imperial Council will need to be consulted," Kexther replied. "This level of technology, it changes everything we thought we knew about scientific advancement." "You have 1 hour to withdraw your forces beyond the Kuiper Belt," Ryuko stated. "After that, we will consider any remaining Imperial ships hostile and respond accordingly." As the transmission ended, General Blackwood approached her station. "They'll be back. The Empire can't accept this level of challenge to their authority." "Of course they'll be back," Ryuko agreed. "But next time they'll come seeking to understand rather than conquer, and that's when the real challenge begins." The battle had proved humanity's military capabilities. But the greater test would be guiding the galaxy's dominant civilization toward a new way of thinking. As the Imperial fleet retreated, leaving their dead and wounded behind, Earth's leaders prepared for the diplomatic battles to come. The age of unchallenged Imperial rule was over. The question now was, what would take its place? The Imperial Palace on Zyrax Prime had stood for 10,000 years, its crystalline spires reaching toward the triple moons that crowned the alien sky. Now, for the first time in living memory, those halls echoed with the sound of fear. High Chancellor Vextrel, his scales shimmering with barely contained rage, watched the holographic replay of the battle for the 20th time. The might of 3 Imperial battle fleets, reduced to wreckage by a species that shouldn't have even achieved spaceflight yet. Impossible, he muttered, his forearms clenched tight. The reports must be falsified. I wish they were, Grand Admiral Kexter replied, his own scales still bearing the gray tinge of battle stress. These humans, they don't just have advanced technology, they've developed entirely new branches of physics. Their quantum manipulation abilities. Silence, Vextrel roared. The Empire does not acknowledge superior technology from lesser races. We are the pinnacle of civilization. We have ruled the stars since before these humans crawled from their oceans. In the shadows of the council chamber, General Nyxara watched silently. Her own scales shifted through patterns that none of her colleagues could read, the secret language of the Imperial reform movement. For centuries, a hidden faction within the Empire had worked toward change, knowing that stagnation would eventually lead to downfall. Now these humans had proved them right. Meanwhile, aboard the Hyperion, Captain Rodriguez was engaged in his own political battle via quantum entanglement communication with Earth's Leadership Council. With all due respect, Minister Chen, he argued, we can't afford to reveal our full capabilities to the Empire even in negotiations. The Quantum Gate Network is our greatest bargaining chip, Minister Wei Chen interrupted, his holographic form flickering slightly. The Empire's greatest weakness is their slow communication and transport between systems. If we offer them limited access to our quantum gate technology, we can force concessions that will protect not just Earth but other developing worlds. Director Tanaka's hologram joined the discussion. Both of you are missing the larger picture. Our intel suggests the Empire isn't as unified as they want us to believe. The battle has exposed fractures in their power structure. She gestured, and a new hologram appeared, classified footage from within the Imperial Palace itself, somehow obtained by human intelligence operatives. It showed various Imperial officials arguing, their scale patterns displaying clear signs of discord. There's a reform movement within their military, Ryoko explained. Elements that have long wanted to modernize the Empire's structure. Our emergence has given them the leverage they needed. Back on Zyrax Prime, the Imperial Council's debate had devolved into chaos. Younger officials argued for accommodation with the humans, while the old guard demanded ever-escalating military action. Deploy the ancient fleets, one counselor demanded. Activate the weapons we sealed away millennia ago. And risk drawing the attention of the deep space entities, another countered. The ancient fleets were sealed for a reason. The humans haven't even scratched the surface of the real threats that lurk between the stars. General Nyxara finally stepped forward, her scales now a confident blue. Perhaps instead of seeing these humans as a threat, we should recognize them as an opportunity. The chamber fell silent. Nyxara was known for her tactical brilliance, and even the most conservative counselors respected her opinion. Their technological advancement is unprecedented, she continued. But more importantly, they achieved it through innovation rather than inheritance or conquest. They could teach us to advance again, to break free from the stagnation that has gripped our empire for centuries. High Chancellor Vextrel's scales flushed with anger. You dare suggest we learn from primitives? I suggest we learn from equals, Nyxara corrected. Or we can watch our empire crumble as other species follow humanity's example. In Earth's orbital command, Director Tanaka received a priority alert. Their quantum surveillance network had detected unusual energy signatures from deep within Imperial space, signatures that matched no known technology, human or Zyraxian. Captain Rodriguez, she called, are you seeing these readings? Affirmative, Dante replied, studying the data. Whatever they're activating, it's old, possibly predating the Empire itself. The ancient fleets, Ryoko breathed, they're actually considering it. She opened a channel to Earth's Defense Council. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to accelerate our timetable. If the Empire activates their sealed weapons, this conflict could escalate beyond anything we've prepared for. Minister Chen's hologram flickered with concern. The quantum gate network isn't fully tested if we deploy it now. We don't have a choice, Ryoko cut in. The Empire is fracturing. If those ancient fleets are activated, the resulting war could tear the galaxy apart. We need to present them with an alternative now. On Zyrex Prime, General Nixara received a coded transmission from her reform movement contacts. The humans were making their move. Now she had to ensure the Empire was ready to take the next step, whether the old guard approved or not. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of an empire that had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. In command centers and council chambers across two civilizations, pieces were moving into place for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy. The question was, would it end in evolution or destruction? The ancient weapon vault deep beneath Zyrax Prime's surface hadn't been opened in 5,000 years. High Chancellor Vextral stood before the quantum-sealed doors, his ceremonial activation key pulsing with dark energy. The ancient fleets will remind humanity of their place, he declared to his assembled loyalists. No species challenges the Empire and survives. But as he moved to insert the key, alarms blared throughout the facility. General Nixara's voice echoed through the chamber. Chancellor, we have an emergency. Unknown entities have appeared in Imperial space. They're not human. In Earth's orbital command, Director Tanaka stared at the quantum sensor readings in horror. Massive objects were emerging from what appeared to be tiers in spacetime itself, objects that dwarfed even the largest Imperial dreadnoughts. The deep space entities, she whispered. The Empire's ancient records were right. Captain Rodriguez's hologram appeared beside her. The quantum disturbances from the Empire's weapon activation must have drawn their attention. Director, these things, they're bigger than anything we've ever encountered. The mysterious objects moved with impossible speed, ignoring the laws of physics as humanity understood them. Where they passed, reality itself seemed to warp and twist. All Imperial and human forces, a voice echoed through every communication system, speaking in frequencies that shouldn't have been possible. Your conflict has drawn our attention. We are the Watchers. We sealed away the ancient fleets for a reason. Their power was never meant for younger races. On Zyrax Prime, General Nixara seized her moment. Chancellor, we need to make a decision. Now, these entities sealed away our most powerful weapons eons ago. We can either work with the humans to face this threat, or we can watch everything we've built be demolished. High Chancellor Vextral's scales shifted through patterns of fear and rage before settling into a deep, resolute blue. Contact the humans. Tell them we're ready to talk. Aboard the Hyperion, Captain Rodriguez was already coordinating with Earth's defense grid when the Imperial transmission came through. But it wasn't the Chancellor who appeared on screen, it was General Nixara. Captain, she began, her scales showing patterns of urgent sincerity, humanity has proved itself not just our equal, but perhaps our superior in ways that matter most. We need your help. The Watchers. They're beyond anything either of our civilizations can handle alone. Director Tanaka joined the transmission. We've been studying the ancient fleet records we acquired. The Watchers sealed those weapons away because they were drawing power from the fundamental forces of reality itself. If they're back, then we need to prove we can be trusted with advanced technology, Nixara finished. Both our civilizations. The next few hours saw something unprecedented, human and Imperial ships maneuvering together, combining their technologies in ways neither side had imagined possible. The Empire's ancient knowledge merged with humanity's innovative quantum science, creating defenses that could actually affect the Watchers. Energy patterns are stabilizing, Lieutenant Kira Patel reported from her station on the Hyperion. The quantum fold technology is actually allowing us to communicate with them. The Watchers' message was clear. They had been observing both civilizations for centuries. The Empire's stagnation and humanity's rapid advancement had created an imbalance that risked the stability of the galaxy itself. We offer you a choice, the Watchers announced. Work together, share knowledge, and grow responsibly, or we will ensure neither of you can access advanced technology again. In the Imperial Palace, before the assembled council, High Chancellor Vextral made the most difficult decision in Imperial history. The Empire accepts humanity as equals, he declared, his scales showing genuine humility. We acknowledge that our policy of technological suppression has harmed not just other species but ourselves. This ends today. Director Tanaka, representing Earth via hologram, nodded solemnly. And humanity accepts the Empire's experience and wisdom. We offer full access to our quantum gate technology under joint oversight. Together, we can build something greater than either of us could alone. General Nixara's reform movement emerged from the shadows, revealed now as the architects of a new era. The Empire would maintain order in the galaxy, but as guardians and teachers rather than conquerors. Humanity would share its innovations, but under careful controls to prevent their misuse. As the Watchers withdrew, satisfied that the younger races had learned their lesson, Captain Rodriguez stood on the Hyperion's bridge watching Imperial and human ships working together to establish the first joint quantum gate. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" Lieutenant Patel asked him. "And," Rodriguez smiled, "this isn't an ending, Lieutenant. This is a beginning. We've just taken our first real steps into the galaxy." In orbit around Earth, the first joint human Imperial Research Center was already under construction. Ships from both civilizations moved in harmony, their crews learning to work together. The quantum gates would soon connect the entire Empire, revolutionizing travel and communication. Director Tanaka stood in orbital command, watching the construction through the viewport. "20 years ago, we found a damaged Imperial probe and prepared for war," she mused. "Instead, we found a way to change the galaxy for the better." The Watchers had shown both civilizations a glimpse of what lay in the deeper reaches of space, wonders and terrors beyond their comprehension. But now they would face those challenges together, combining Imperial experience with human innovation. As the first quantum gate flared to life, connecting Earth to Xyrax Prime in an instant, a new era truly began. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest, but through innovation and adaptability. The Empire had learned to grow again, to embrace change rather than fear it. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what both civilizations needed.